Hi, this is Norman Kochnick from a rather sunny Sydney, Australia. Again, we're on for Eyes on Cricket with Norman Kochnick, and I have a lovely new addition to our group. That is the lovely Gargi. One care.
Yeah.
And Gargi, welcome.
Yeah. Hello, Norman.
And you've got Priti Upala
Hi,
here,
everyone.
and the absolute rock solid rock star himself, Chris Vernon.
I'm a bit depressed today. Liverpool lost last night, so I'm not very happy.
Really?
I'm still drinking out my mug, so
they got beaten by Chelsea today.
Lost 1-0, yeah. So a bit depressed.
Oh, right. So last night, Gargi, for your sake, we actually had a very special guest, Len Pascoe, who played for Australia back at the time when Lillian Thompson played and Viv Richards played. We had Viv Richards' brother, Merv Richards, online. We had these two lovely people with us as well. It was a great session. Okay.
Yeah.
We've got the most views out of all the last 3 nights, by the way, too. But we did.
That's great. Yeah.
So I've got Gargi on equal for a number of reasons. I had a good look at Jemima Rodriguez and Smriti Mandana's thing, and I think it's about time we got some Indian female cricketers who are currently in the mix. Now, Gargi is extremely close to cracking the Indian team. Her bowling is sensational. Nilakshi De Silva couldn't handle her. I remember her nicking you behind the slip. She's a fast bowler, incredibly fast. I probably could hit her for 6 still, but that's another thing. Chris has struggled because he's one of those Dow opening bats that lets balls go. I'm dashing and flowing with my shot. What's your best shot, Chris, by the way?
My best shot? Cover drive. I like playing a classical covered straight drive. It's probably my favourite shot.
Right.
Probably the drive is the best, but favourite shot, I don't think as a bat you can do much worse than an on-drive past the bowler or a pull shot maybe. So, yeah, I'm not very exciting as a batter.
Well, we've got an extra. Adam,
is.
I thought, 2 females. Hello, Adam. How are you?
Norman, how are you, mate?
Very, very well. We've got the lovely Gargi Wanka here. She's actually...
Hi, Gargi.
Hello, sir.
How are you?
You can call Adam. Don't have to call him sir. It's very sweet of you.
Don't call me sir. I'll start getting cocky and arrogant like that. Just Adam.
Okay.
So, Gargi, Adam played for England. He's also the current Queensland batting coach here in Australia with the likes of Marnus Labuschagne. He coaches Joe Burns, a whole host of Usman Khawaja.
Wow.
Quite an amazing person and a great friend of ours. So Gargi's very, very much, she's going to be like the Smriti Mandana or the Jemima Rogers of our program. We're going to have a lot of fun with her.
Excellent.
All right. So, Adam, do I need to get your point of view first off, seeing you there? It's interesting how both you and Chris have got this doom and gloom around your room, whereas everybody else seems to be brighter. Is there some sort of sign here?
Oh, mate, it's been a tough series, isn't it? Like after the first test kind of lured us into a false sense of security, and then it's kind of been business as usual. I think it was kind of what we all expected at the beginning of the series. Maybe not the 7-0 that you predicted, Norman, but it was.
Now, Gargi, you've got to make this clear. Adam's gone. I never said 7. I said 4. It's gone 5. It's gone 6. Now it's gone 7. There's an imagination about the results. You'll get used to that.
So, yeah, I mean, I think even on the evening of the final day of the first test, I think even though Chris and I were quite adamant that England would get home and win that game, I think we still said, as much as we'd like to think otherwise, it was probably odds-on favourite that India would take a 3-1 series lead. Obviously, this game's not over yet, but it's following the trend of the last 2 test matches. And I just think that India has worn England down as this series went on. England got off to a start, and then those 2 test matches, the second and third, just that's took the wind out of their sails. I think they're looking at getting home now. I've played in test series when you're getting in hiding and and then you're playing for your country, so you'd like to think that people are out there 100%, but it's when the wind's taken out of your sails, it's hard to not have one eye on that flight home. And I think there'll be a few players who are, although they're out there giving their best for their country, they'll be wanting a way out, because India's basically pulled their pants down and given them a good hiding in these last 3 test matches. So
what did you say? Rishabh Pant pulled their pants down? I'm not sure.
well, that's quite that's the quickest witted thing I've ever heard you say, Norman.
Oh,
yeah, so it's been men against boys in these last few games, and I don't mean that disrespectfully to the English players. I'm just talking about in these particular conditions. In particular, India have been better in the spin bowling, probably every department, possibly even the seam bowling department on these types of wickets. They've even been better in that department. So the series is going as we thought it might at the beginning. And I guess England, if they're looking back on it, they'd have to say, look, hey, at least we came away with one, which is more than Norman thought. So they'd have to be slightly happy with that.
Yeah, I think it's a very, very well said. I think there is an element of looking towards the end of the series. Obviously, they've got the ODIs and T20s to play. Then they've got a continuation with the IPL right through to test matches in England. It's going to be a bumper year.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm looking at the World Test Championship will definitely, it looks almost certain it'll be between India and the likes of New Zealand. So that's going to be an interesting series as well. Chris.
Yes.
At 3:15 or 3:20 in the morning, Liverpool having been beaten by Chelsea, not much else can go wrong.
I think that, as Smokey said, it was. I don't think anyone sat here, certainly myself included, and said that India still wouldn't be favourites to win the series, and they've delivered, and it's. I probably slightly disagree with Smokey. It's probably come down to 2 guys on the Indian front. If you take Axar and Ashwin out, man for man, England haven't been too far off competing with India. Root's probably had a better series than Kohli. Stokes has had a better series has probably been similar to Rahane. Gill's had a poor series. Rohit's been the difference as well, the bat. So there's probably 3 guys for India that have had a top class series, and the rest of, they've probably dragged the rest of them through it. And that's the beauty of such a great side, is that they rely on their big players to step up, and 3 of them have done it this series. And in those conditions, I don't think England will be too disheartened. It's not like other sides go to India and win games or win series. They just don't. England have done something that no side has done for nearly 8-9 years, and that's win a game. So, they might see it as a positive and being ahead of the curve and something to learn for next time. And, I said in the pre-test show that if you need to win a series in India, you have to take a side that is settled, that is at its absolute peak. I mean, look at the last side that won it. It was England in 2012 when they had Compton and Cook at the top of the order. They were pretty settled. You had Trott, Bell, Peterson, Pryor, Swan, Panasai. You had probably the best England side of the last 20 years playing at their best, and they only just beat India then. So, that shows the sort of level you have to be as a test side to go out there and win a series.
Actually, Monty is obviously, he's over near Ahmedabad in that town. What was that town called, Brittany?
Raigar, I think.
Raigar, yep. Do you know where that is, Gargi? They're playing the Legends series, the road safety series. Have you heard about those?
Yeah. It
Where
will
is
be broadcasted on TV from today, I guess.
And that's near Ahmedabad, isn't it?
Yeah.
Adam, now, I'm surprised. Did you get asked to play in this Legends series?
I didn't even know about it. I think they were trying to keep it secret from me, mate. So
it's a Legend series, Norm.
Yeah, Legend, yeah. So I think, is there an age restriction, or is it just?
I don't think so.
Yeah, maybe I'm too old, mate. I'm 50 in September, so I don't know. It's pretty old.
But you're damn still capable of playing. We all know that. You look very fit. you still do mixed martial arts and the whole thing, and you're coaching the Queensland Bulls. I think you would have been able to play. I mean, did you play with Matthew Hoggart?
Yes, yeah, played a lot with Matthew Hoggart, actually. He is a good friend of mine. I think I played in, if it wasn't his debut, it was one of his very, very first games. We played up at Scarborough against each other, and we're very close friends. But he's a competitive guy. I've got quite a good story about him, actually. I know we're on an England versus India series, but as soon as we've gone on to that Master Series, when he played his first game, he bowled a ball to me, and I hit it back to him as the bowler, and he went to shy at the stumps, and I was standing there, I wasn't out of my ground. So he went to throw at the stumps, so I stood there in my ground. I went, there's no way he's going to throw it because I'm just standing here in the way of the stumps. Why would he throw it? And he was a young kid, and I thought, I'm the captain of Surrey at the time. I was known as quite a sort of big character in the game. I thought, there's no way he's going to throw it. So I just stood there looking at him, and he threw it. he threw it, and I saw it coming, so I turned and it hit me straight in the bum. So I was like fuming. So I had a massive go at him. I walked down the wicket. We had a big confrontation, and then he went back to bowl. Darren Lehman and it was, I think, Michael Vaughan and Darren Goff all came and said, listen, calm down. He's a good guy. He's playing his first game. He's just a bit excited. So he went back to his mark, and he came back to bowl again. And as I was facing up, I was trying to get my mind back because I was still angry. I was fired up. I said, okay, remain calm, remain calm. And I was thinking in my mind, there's no way he'll bowl a bouncer because he won't want to be that confrontational against me. I'll try and look for the ball up there, If it's up there, I'm going to try and punch it. As he let go of the ball, I was like, oh my God, it's a bouncer. So I had to duck. So after that, we looked at each other and we like cracked up laughing. And I went, I like this guy. He's competitive, and he obviously went on to do great things for England. But I've seen it also, he's got his own smoke barbecue thing. He's now a bit of a cook. He looks like he's been eating all of the food that he's cooked because he's put on a bit of weight. He's like, I don't know, like they might use him as the heavy roller in the 4th test. I think he's put a bit of weight on the old Hoggy.
He's mad as a box of frogs, isn't he? Oh God.
He's a great guy. You guys will love watching him over there in India in that series. He's a really good entertainer. I'm sure he'll provide a lot of fun for the Indian people.
Well,
him and Monty together would certainly be fun.
Mate of his.
What's that?
Hence why you should have been included, because you're a mate of his.
Well, maybe I just think I'm their friends, and then everyone's just kept this secret from me, and they haven't told me about it, and I didn't get an invite. So maybe that I need to go away and have a look at myself, mate. I don't think I'm as popular as I like to think I am.
Did Al get an invite?
Monty's been on our show several times, and he could have mentioned it as well. No,
yeah, Monty kept that quiet, didn't he? I think it was I think it's like one of those things when you've got someone in your team or your office that you don't like, and there's a party going on, and you don't want them to come to the party, so everyone keeps it a secret. I think I'm that person that.
Oh no, you're not.
No,
maybe Monty didn't want to. Maybe he was expecting a test match call up, so maybe he didn't want to tell the selectors that he had other plans.
No, I in all honesty, I couldn't go Norman anyway because I've got 3 kids. I coach the Queensland side. I train some fighters out here. I've got 2 businesses of my own, so I'm plenty busy enough as it is and old, and I move like the Tin Man out of the Wizard of Oz. So they've seen that, and they don't want me anywhere near a cricket field. Yeah. So
Pretty, you and I we had an audience with Viv Richards this morning.
Yes.
And Mervyn, Adam, he invited Pretty and I to be on a show out of Antigua, and it was so much fun. Viv was there, and he was asking questions. The show went for 2 hours. Mind you, we had 15 minutes, but it was great.
Fantastic.
Pretty, tell us what your thoughts about the game.
Well, I was listening to. I just 2 minutes about the experience earlier today. We were listening in before they brought us in, and it was just amazing to listen to his adventures. And he speaks so well. He's so articulate, and it was a real honor to ask him questions, and he took them and he answered all of them very honestly and openly. I'm so so thrilled. I think it'll be great for his audience, and eventually, hopefully, we'll get footage and be able to circulate it, so all you guys can listen in as well. But it's so amazing to even have that, to be kind of in the same room as legends like that. So it was quite touching. So thank you, Norman, for organizing that for us.
It's amazing though, Pretty, because it wasn't just Viv Richards, it was his inner sanctum in Antigua, some of his closest mates that are lesser known cricketers, that he had tales about his junior cricketing time, even at school time with his brother Mervyn. It was so intimate. It was quite incredible. Very special.
Yeah.
So
and he's very involved in the game. I mean, he had watched the game last night. He had a lot to say. I love it. Very kind of very enthusiastic, I think, about cricket and it's the future, the direction that it's going in, and he's very involved, and he has strong opinions about these things, which is good because not every ex-cricketer does. I think some of them do move on, or it's just sort of, it gets very soft, right? Their kind of interest or obsession with the game. So it's great to see people like him really in the mix and very involved. It'll be good for West Indian cricket, obviously, to have him sort of chaperone them and lead them and guide them however he can and however he does.
now, Gargi, I must get your perspective. Did you see the game between Sri Lanka and the West Indies? And the fact
I just saw the highlights, Yeah, I saw
you're
that
a
6
bowler.
sixes in an over. Yeah.
You're a bowler. If you took a hat trick and then all of a sudden the next batter came in and hit you for 6 sixes, how would you feel?
I know.
Pretty amazing.
Actually, yeah, I saw I know the videos, the highlights of it. 6 sixes in an over, and he was just hitting like anything. I mean, all of them out of the park, not even near the boundary, close to boundary. It was like out of the park, every ball.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
Do you know the ground, Adam? Is it ground in Antigua? Have you been to Antigua and played cricket there?
I've played way too much cricket over there, mate. I think I've been hit out of that ground a few times myself. So.
Would you have played in the game where Lara got 370?
I was carrying drinks in the 370 game.
Good guess.
And I was a lot of drinks, I might add. So that's. But then apparently in the next one, when he went back and he scored 400, I think there was only Graham Thorpe and Mark Butcher were the only two who were involved in both. And they said to me, obviously they were my Surrey teammates, and they said when he got to about 30 in the second, when he scored 400, they said it was like it was meant to be. It was like they all had still post-traumatic stress from when he scored 375, and it was like when he got to 40, it was like almost like the gods came down from out of the clouds and said, everyone just watch, he's going to get 40. I said it was like slow water, Chinese torture, just like drip, drip. They had to field for 2 days. It was like Groundhog Day. So,
but that was not on Cooley's cricket ground. That would have been on Antigua recreational ground. But
that's
Cooley's
right.
Because Cooley's cricket ground is the sticky wicket where Stanford had his way.
Yeah, I played. That was at the other stadium. There's quite a few stadiums in Antigua actually. There's the Viv Richards Stadium. There's the Coolidge one, which was the Stanford. So there's 3 big stadiums on an island that's so small. It's quite amazing, really.
Oh yeah.
When I was playing, and those other 2 grounds didn't exist.
Right.
So, well, they might have done, but just not as in the form. They're big stadiums, and especially the Viv Richards Stadium is a substantial stadium. So,
but the Antigua recreational ground where you did play, that has to have the most character with the old wooden stands.
Yeah,
fabulous ground.
Yeah, and they had a couple of like well-known. Was it Gravy?
Gravy, yep.
Gravy. When it's just an intimate ground when people know the individual names of spectators. So. Amazing grounds. So those grounds have got I know you were really excited by the ground in India at the moment. They're probably the 100,000. You called it a beautiful ground. So, mate, that's a stadium. That's a coliseum. These grounds in the West Indies are intimate grounds. They have the speakers are as high as the stands, and it's a unique. And I think that's the beautiful thing about our game. Do you know what I mean? Like, you go to somewhere like England, and you have like somewhere like Lords, which is steeped in history, and then you go to somewhere like the Caribbean, where they have like, it's almost like a disco party atmosphere, and then you go to India and the fanaticism of the crowds there and all the pictures. I think that's sort of what separates our game from a lot of the other games. Like, you go to football ground's a football ground, you know what I mean? It's like it doesn't change that much, and you might get another 10, but they're pretty much all stadiums. Cricket grounds there's something nostalgic about those cricket grounds. They have their own personality, I feel. So and these grounds in India, they're amazing as well. I don't like the fact that we're being whooped on such a big stage, but the grounds are amazing, and I just love the character. You think of like I love Test cricket. You go to the Caribbean in the 70s, and you had to deal with ferocious pace, fast wickets, 6'6" fast bowlers, and they had to contend with that. You go to India now, and you've got to contend with the amazing spinners, the way they play spin, and the characteristics of those players. You come to England, you've got to deal with swing and seam. It's just, I think it's quite a unique game. I mean, like I said, I've been fortunate to be involved in 2 other professional sports, both fighting, and fight's a fight. Like, we can fight in the pub, we can fight in a boxing ring. It's a fight, you know what I mean? The conditions don't change. But cricket is just, I think that's why it's such a well-supported game around the world, because it's a thinking man's game.
I love this, guys. Don't you love listening to Adam? I love this. This is just tremendous.
That's the only reason you like it, Norman, is because I'm not having a go at you for your prediction of 9-0 that you made before the.
Oh, now it's 9-0. Are you a mathematics? Someone a mathematics teacher here. Give this guy a maths lesson. Jesus. Now, Chris, you're the expert with our question and answering. We've got a question. The Sun from the Rain has put those questions on way before the actual
at the top. Yeah, let me have a look. Shall I just read through them?
Yeah, please.
Hi, Chris. Good morning. What will England plan for the openers, and will Root introduce himself early because the pitch does offer some support? I think England will feel that if they've got any chance in this match, albeit slim, they'll have to take wickets this morning. India's batting lineup, hasn't fired as much as it would like this series, apart from Rohit. So they'll fancy if Anderson can maybe get an early wicket while they're sort of still waking up and getting out, that they could get into them. But they're going to have to take wickets in that first hour to have any chance. Will Root bowl himself? You won't see Root bowling probably before lunch. I imagine it'll be Anderson, maybe a bit of Stokes, and then the 2 frontline spinners will be the go-to first. I heard from Ian Bell that Siraj will be very useful in English conditions. How will you use him? And if you're a captain, what would be your bowling combination with Siraj? It's interesting. I don't know whether Siraj will play in that first test in England. India have got such a great stock of fast bowlers. Assuming Bumrah plays and Ishant plays, which they will. You've got Hardik. Pandya will probably come into bat at 6 as that bowling all-rounder option, which I think balances well. They've got one more seam slot. So there's one between Siraj, Umesh, and Mohammad Shami. And then who do they pick? I don't, Siraj has probably got that slot at the moment, but I would suggest that in England, they probably would want to go for the experience, especially if Hardik not playing a lot of Test cricket recently. So it'll be interesting to see what they go with. I don't know.
Not forgetting Jadeja, of course, as well.
I don't think they'll play 2 spinners in England. I don't see it. I think they'll play three frontline seamers, Ashwin, and then Hardik as the seaming all rounder. Unless at the Oval you might play 2 spinners, Smokey, mightn't you? But I think it'll be Ashwin or Jadeja or Axar for that one slot, and then Siraj probably has one slot. in the bowling because Ishant and Bumrah will play. So he did bowl very well yesterday, didn't he, Siraj?
He did very well.
All this nonsense in the press about him and Stokes having a bust up, it's disappointing, really. I don't think anyone's come out and said anything poor was said. It was just Test cricket in the heat of the moment, like Hoggard and Hollyoake at Headingley back in 1995.
Hoggard, Hollyoake, Headingley. Wow, that's a headline.
Yeah, Triple H.
Hollyoake hits Hoggard in Headingley. There we go.
But it's one of those things in Test cricket. If you take those kind of confrontations or those kind of moments out of the game, I think Test cricket's worse for it. I don't think anything bad was said. It's just two blokes competing for their country and trying to do their best. I don't mind seeing it at all. I think it's good for the game to have those sort of things.
Just quickly, Captain America's asking whether Priti is from Mangalore. You're not from Mangalore, are you?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
LA, she's from LA.
And Rahul Wakadi is not. He's talking about Alex Hales and breakfast, please. Not sure what that's all about. We have got a full house today. We've got a strong in. This is the strongest Indian contingent. We've got Debas's online as well.
4 Indians versus 2 English.
Sorry, Norman. Sorry, everyone, for being late. I just went to my son's.
Nice to see you.
Yeah, hi, Priti. Hi, Adam.
Debas's
Hi,
meet
Chris.
Gargi. Meet Gargi.
Yeah, hi, Gargi.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hi.
She's in lockdown. She's a future Indian ODI player.
Very good.
Okay.
Very fast.
Nice.
Very good fast bowler, and a very.
She's from
very
Maharashtra.
talented-
Sis, are you from Maharashtra?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
I
right.
play
What's-
for Vidarbha Cricket Association, VCA.
Okay. Vidarbha Cricket as a
Yeah.
You know Subrata Banerjee?
Yeah, I know him. Yeah, we have met.
Yeah. All right.
So while you two guys have a side conversation, I might have a conversation.
No.
Good at.
The last question that the guy at the top mentioned was about this rotation policy, and it is a lot's been said, and England are obviously getting pulled up on it because they're the only side at the moment that have had to show what their policy is. Let's be honest. India have shown signs that they're going to be rotating as well. Bumrah got rested for the second Test match. That's rotation. He's obviously gone off to get married. I'm assuming that's pre-planned, and whether you agree or not, that's a slight rotation as well. He's having a rest. So India will probably rest players for the one-day series. And it's easy in a home series to not rotate. England won't rotate in England because in between tests they'll go home for 3 days. There's no need in a home series to do it. So it'll be interesting to see if India rotate in England, if Australia do it when they're overseas, or South Africa start doing it because of the amount of cricket. So I think that it's difficult to draw conclusions based on one side doing it. And let's face it, doing it relatively effectively. They've had a pretty good last 12, 18 months. England, they've won in Sri Lanka. They won the first Test here. So it'd just be interesting to see if other sides sort of adopt it with all the cricket coming up. India have suggested that they are open to the idea of it. Obviously, how they've treated Bumrah in this series. So, it'll be interesting to see if they adopt that approach coming to England.
Keep talking, guys. I've just got a bit of a glitch here.
I think Norman and I did a piece the other day about the rotation, and it's like such a wide range where you can go. Like you could be like the players from back in my era, which were like, well, we didn't get a rest. Like you should just get out there and play, that's wrong. But then I think you can also go too far the other way where you're looking for reasons to rest people. I think, and somewhere in the middle is probably going to be the sweet spot. I mean, I wouldn't like to see it go back to our era where we had guys bowling 30 overs for their county the day before a Test match. It's like, that's ridiculous. I think central contracts have put an end to that. So, all around the world, you'd have guys playing for their state, their province, their county the day before an international game. I think you've got to give international players their best chance of being successful and extending their careers. So, but I also think you've got to balance that. And I don't know if the ICC can some sort of come into this, and maybe there needs to be a coming together of the high performance managers from the countries with the ICC scheduling, because you know, you want to try and prolong people's careers. You want the best players on show, but you also don't want to devalue your game. Where if you're playing for India, you're getting a test match for India. One test match is a highlight of your life, let alone people who are able to go on and play 50. So I personally would never want to be rested, because if I get to play a test match, it's a big deal for me. So I wouldn't ever want to be rested. I also understand there's a bigger picture than that. So I think you got to try and find your rest times away from the international games. And I wonder if maybe the ICC can look at the time between test matches to give people the ultimate opportunity to recover, but then you're extending tours. So I'm sitting here basically contradicting myself, but it's such a hard topic. I just don't like seeing at international cricket. I mean, there's enough distractions going on with, you know, these guys. Are they motivated? They're getting paid all this money. Do they really care? You know, there's hanging in the background. There's been the match fixing. There's match referees who take the sting out of the situation. So sometimes I think we've got to be careful that we look after our viewers and we get guys out there who want to play, are at their allowed to compete, and you've got your best side available for those international games. I think when you start having guys, you know, this isn't your best team, you're trying to get through series, like, I think it can devalue the game a little bit. And I think it's really hard, and it's going to be people more intelligent than me to find a way of balancing that, keeping players fresh and extending their careers with giving the viewers the best possible contests that they can have.
I don't think there's any debate that the players aren't a fan of it. You know, Jimmy Anderson's come out pretty publicly and said, I'm 38, I want to be playing every game I can. The problem is that they're playing 17 test matches this year, England. You know, some New Zealand and Pakistan, you know, I bet New Zealand haven't played 17 tests in their last 3 or 4 years. You know, England are playing that in a year. There's such a big emphasis on white ball cricket that that's just the way the game's going. But I don't think for a second that any of the players want to do it. And let's face it, I don't think rotations had a massive impact on the series anyway. It's just the white ball guys that have been rotated. The main guys, I know Stokes didn't play in Sri Lanka, but his dad died. You know, he probably wouldn't have played anyway. You know, he was on compassionate leave for that series anyway. So the main guys in the England side have all been there for both series. You know, Root, Anderson's been there, Broad's been there. You know, Broad and Anderson have been rotated, not because they need a rest, because they both don't need to play in those conditions. So it's not a rest rotation, it's a team selection tactic. And, you know, all the batters have been there: Crawley, Sibley, Burns. Pope was injured for the Sri Lanka series. You know, has only just come back from injury. Lawrence has been there. So, you know, it's just a few of the sort of the white ball specialist guys that have had a rest. And if you want to say that there's an influence on picking white ball cricket over test match cricket, well, Mark Wood pulled out of the IPL, probably have earned himself a couple of £100,000 for 4 weeks, pretty easy work, to concentrate on playing test match cricket against India this summer. So, you know, I don't even know if the players are suggesting that they're picking IPL and white ball cricket over playing for England anyway. I think that it's just the way it is this year.
I don't think the players would say it. I think it's above that. I think it's, you know, I agree. The players are going to want to play. I'm not for 1 minute suggesting they're Jimmy Anderson I played with Jimmy Anderson. I was on his first. I know he's not walking around going, oh, I'm not that fussed about playing in this game, and give someone else a go. He'll be wanting to play every game. And I expect anyone who gets to international cricket hasn't got there because they're not that fussed. They've got there through really hard work and determination and pride for their country. So whether you be Indian, Australian, English, whatever you are, you've got there through hard work. So no player is going to want to be rested. I'm just purely talking about it as our product, the cricket as a product of the people. I mean, we talk about international sides, but it's our game. It's, you know, it's us 6 people on here. It's our game. It's the guy walking down the street. It's not, you know, it's not the ICC's game or Cricket Australia's game or ECB's. It's everyone's game, and I think that we deserve to see the best players. And if we can, how many Test matches are they playing this year? Did you say?
17 this year. England got.
The whole year.
Mr. Mastermind, was it 17?
And probably the 3, you know, they're playing the 3 best sides in the world. You know, you've got 9 tests against India, 5 against Australia, and a test series against New Zealand. You know, it's.
So I wonder whether that could be looked at. You know what I mean? Like maybe we can start getting some consistency with the amount of games. You know, it's a never-ending topic because there's so many moving parts. But
Yeah.
But that's because of COVID-19. They would have played games last year, but they've shifted the dates around to squish them in as soon as they could play. That's the major factor.
Unfortunately, it's just a money thing, isn't it? Whether you like it, or how you want to look at it. The players are playing cricket, but the ICC, the BCCI, the England Cricket Board, you know, it's all TV rights, it's all money, it's all money making, isn't it? And rightly so, these guys have paid a lot of money, and let's face it, there's harder ways to earn a living, you know, for what you love to do. But it's all money, isn't it? You know, they didn't have to put the World 2020 in. They could have rescheduled that for next year, but then TV companies lose out on all the money. You know, it's in India. It's probably the biggest spectacle fans wise. You know, they're not going to want to delay that a year, are they? So, you know, there's two ways of looking at it, isn't there? You know, both sides need help to come to a medium that is happy for everyone.
And that comes back to our original point.
I'm going to ask a question here. Ray has just mentioned that, okay, England are playing 17, but India are playing 15. They're not exactly much different.
No, exactly. But that's not.
And guys like Jasprit Bumrah has been playing non-stop cricket since the IPL. He played IPL. He went to Australia. So he also needs rest because and especially if you are considering this bio bubble being when they were in Australia, they had to isolate themselves for 15 days. They were locked in their rooms. They could hardly, thanks to Cricket Australia, that they were allowed to train out for 3 hours and then again back to their room. So you should understand the cricketer's perspective as well. So it's all not obviously who would want to rest. I'm talking about people, guys like someone like Ravindra Jadeja or a Jasprit Bumrah or a Virat Kohli or a Rohit Sharma, who have been regular in all across all the formats, and they have been in the bio bubble. So you should also look at their aspect as well.
Yeah, no, I've touched on that when we spoke before about mental health and about players' well-being, and you know, you might find, and as I said, with the rotation policy, I see that there's a good chance that India will probably take the same. It might be that Rohit Sharma has 2 tests off in England with the World 2020 in mind. You know, I don't see these things as being a ridiculous thing. You know, and it's just when do you pick to rotate them? And you know, Debassis is right. I mean, do you think that India will go down a similar route, Debassis? Do you think that there might be some rotation and some rest at some point?
100%. They are going to rest Rohit Sharma. They are going to rest 3 players for the upcoming ODI series against England. And Rohit Sharma, Washington Sundar, and I think Jasprit Bumrah definitely. So these 3 players will be rested for the ODI series against England. And fair enough, because immediately after the England series, you play the IPL, where there's a lot of traveling to do because the IPL it will be played across 5 cities in India, which is not the case because it was previously thought that it would be played only in Mumbai. But that is not the case now. It will be played across 5 cities. So there will be a lot of travelings, and the matches, they get over at 9, 10 the next morning. You pack up your bags and go to another city. So it's very hectic, and that too under a bio bubble atmosphere. So just imagine then, and immediately after the IPL, India travels to Sri Lanka, and followed by it's a big series coming up against England, where you play 5 test matches. So you need to, and India has the luxury, BCCI has the luxury of rotating the players because they now have the bench strength. If you don't have a Bumrah, if you don't have a Mohammad Sami, you have a Navdeep Saini, you have a Mohammad Siraj who can easily come, because with this India A concept, because this is a nice concept across all the top cricket playing nations, is that these 8 teams, they travel a lot, and so they're almost ready, match ready. So if a main player gets out, and the good thing about about this cricket matches now in Bio Bubble is that you can take a bigger squad to on tours. So you have the luxury of taking 25 to 30 players, which was not the case say in normal circumstance where you could only take 17, 16 or 17 players. But now you have the luxury of taking 30 players. So you can have the luxury, and actually the second string bowlers are training with the top players. Say a Navdeep Saini, he has done well, or a Mohammad Siraj, or a Natarajan. He was practicing with the Indian senior team. He was bowling in the nets to the likes of Virat Kohli or a Cheteshwar Pujara. So he is getting match ready. He is getting to share the dressing room and staying in the same hotel. So I think countries like India, Australia, England has the luxury of rotating their players because they have the bench strength.
No, I agree, and I think England people in the comments and certain other people, even on panelists here, have, Norman's obviously said his dislike for it, but I reckon I wouldn't be surprised if India have a Test series in Sri Lanka. I wouldn't be surprised if Mr. Kohli doesn't go, someone like Mr. Sharma doesn't go. I'd be very surprised if they all get a rest with the series in mind. Then, I'd like to see the comments from the Indian fans who have basically slated England's policy here. If then India adopt the same approach, then I'd like to know what they think, because India are going to do exactly the same. I wouldn't be surprised if Kohli misses that Sri Lanka tour. They're going to win it. They've got a way too strong a side. So they might take a B team. They might rest. They might give Kohli, Sharma, Rahane, Bumrah, Ashwin off. They might say, why does Ashwin have to play? He's 35. He's not getting any younger. We'll take Aksar Patel, and Ravi Jadeja's not played. So, it's easy to hang England up and slate them for what they've done, but India might do the same, and then all of a sudden it's a very different outlook, isn't it?
That comes back
just on Aksar Patel. Just quickly on Aksar
Patel. My point though, Chris. It's unfortunate, and that we're in a situation where the players are, or the boards or whoever it is. I think it's a decision that needs to go to the ICC. So yes, you're right that these players need to rest, but if we can get the scheduling right, where we're not playing 17 Test matches in a year, and you got to. I mean, I understand you got to try and play as much as you can for the future, for the financial betterment of the game and everything like that. But there's a balance, isn't there? There's a balance where if you play too little, the people don't get what they want, and then you play too much, and then you start delivering an inferior product where your best players aren't playing. Like if you're playing too much and you're talking about Kohli not going, then you're going to start devaluing your product, where India are putting a side out and the people aren't going to want to watch. They're not going to want to tune in. I'm not watching India play, Kohli's not playing, and all these guys, best players in the world, aren't playing, it starts to devalue your product. So absolutely. I think they've just got to be careful that they get the balance right of how much these guys are playing. So they've got to work with the boards so that they're trying to have the best players on show to provide the best product for the viewing audience, which is where the money comes from.
But then these tours are decided long time back. It's a FTP, because these boards, the tours are decided long time back, and these are unforeseen circumstances that we are passing through. So I think obviously I totally agree. I totally agree with Adam that ICC needs to look at, because they not to devaluate the test format. But talking about players like Virat Kohli or Rohit Sharma resting for a tour like Sri Lanka, because you cannot, because Sri Lanka are not the same opponent as England.
Absolutely.
I'm not disrespecting the Sri Lankan team, but they are not the same team as the Australian team or English team. So why not give chance to your second string of players?
I totally agree. I'm not saying that that India are wrong to do that. I totally agree that if they've been playing as much as they had and you've got a weaker opponent, that is the opportunity to rest you. But I totally agree. I'm saying that if we worked with the people organized, the ICC at the top, then those situations mightn't arise where you felt that you're in a position to look for the opportunity to give players a rest. If we can pad it out and have a nice. And I know we're in unique times with Corona, but I'm a cricket lover. I'm just trying to. I love our game. I'm trying to preserve it. I don't like seeing international sides go out onto the field without not fielding their best side. I think it devalues our game. And I know we've got to do it sometimes, but if you start doing it too much, it devalues our game, and players and spectators lose the connection with their team. That's my feeling.
Captain America's bringing up a point about this young star, this Devdutt Padikkal, for the ODI against England. He seems to be killing it. Gargi, do you know much about him?
Yes, he has been amazing in the IPL. I mean, everyone saw that.
And I mean, now Adam and Debashis, we need to make a comment. Gargi here, when she plays for India, which will happen in the next 12 to 18 months, we've got her on the show first. Before she becomes mega huge,
Yes.
she's on the show first.
So what you're saying is you're trying to basically be nice to her now. So when she's a mega star, you don't have to pay a fee.
Exactly.
Is that it?
Exactly.
So remember where you come from, Gargi. Just remember your roots, where you started. So when you're a mega star and you're like the female MS Dhoni or the Virat Kohli, you have to remember us, and you've got to like come on, and Norman wants you to come on for free.
I think you're more Mohammad Siraj in your bowling, aren't you? You got a beautiful action. Very, very nice. And you can
Thank
bat
you.
too. And she can bat. Oh my God, she can bat. Huh? Gargi, don't be so humble. Come on.
What's she
She's
supposed
got
to
Thank
say?
you.
muscles. She's got muscles
Yeah.
coming out of muscles on those arms.
What do you want
I
her to
think there's a
say,
bit of-
Norm?
Yeah.
You're just trying to detract away from your appalling predictions for this series. You're just trying to throw out.
My point. Rohit Sharma, 147.9. That was me. And this fella down here went,
You're amazing, Norman.
who said, I said 171. They got 205. I was the
Yeah, very
closest.
close.
Beg your pardon.
If I die and I come back as anyone, Norman, I want to come back as you, mate.
Oh, that's nice of you.
Great compliment.
I don't quite know why, but I'm sorry. Okay, now, talking about scores today, we predicted, I mean, Chris was very bad with his prediction, so he said 280. Did you say 300? He said 300.
I said 300.
Devash said 300. What were you thinking?
No.
What were you?
I thought that England should show some real talent in their batting, but you can't help it.
All right.
And you can't blame the wicket this time round, Chris. You can't blame
No,
the wicket.
no, No,
Yeah.
Ben
absolutely
Stokes
not.
also agreed.
No
Ben
more
Stokes also agreed that it was a good wicket to bat on.
No, I agree. I'll always be honest, and I think, I'll sit here now and I'll say that yesterday England were bad. The pitch looked a really good Test wicket, comfortably the best cricket wicket of the series, and the pitch in the last two Tests was below par for Test cricket. I mean, I'll sit here and call a spade, but yesterday England were just really poor and India were good. The wicket's fine. There's nothing wrong with that Test wicket, which just shows potentially how slightly underprepared the pitch for the third one was when they can produce this 5 days later. So, but no, England were bad. The pitch looks good. It's nice to see a cricket wicket with a little bit for the seamers in it as well. And all three skill sets can be tested on this wicket, and that's important, I think.
We've lost Gargi. Gargi, by the way, is in lockdown, as we heard. She's in lockdown there, having gone from her state to Chennai. Honestly, she's a really good player. I've seen her play a bunch of so-called representative players who are playing for their country, and it was amazing. She bowled a great deal. So a bit of Anderson, a bit of Siraj about her. Incredible pace, and she hits the ball. She'll be a distinct player when she plays. All right,
Are you her agent, mate? Are you her agent?
No, I'm not her agent.
Yeah, you should be a manager.
I've got too many already.
Is this going on adverts? Ads for out here, trying to sell your players. She's an amazing player. She'll appear at your local barbecue. Open your school for 5 lakh.
I'll give you 5 lakh in a minute. No. All right.
I'd like to see that. I tell you what, you pick your fights, Norman, and I wouldn't be picking it with martial arts coach Smokey.
It's easy when you're in Sydney compared to the Gold Coast. He's 1,000 miles away. All right. Chris scores. Come on.
I think India will get something between 300 and 370. And then England will hopefully bat and set 150. You never know. But, I don't think this test match has got... I think England are way behind the 8 ball here. So they're just going to have to bowl well today and see what they can do.
All right. Between 300 and 370. Pretty?
Well, they've got 25, I think, already, right? So, I don't think they'll make... I'm at 300. I don't think they're going to make more than that.
Okay. Adam?
I've been in this situation where the end of the tours, the light at the end of the tunnel, they've been getting a flogging for the last 2 tests. I think England's checked out. I think India will get as many as they want to get. I'm not saying, I don't know if we're talking about the end of the day, what the score will be, but if we're talking about the day, I think India will be batting till tea tomorrow. I think I have the feeling that England are just going to have, I feel like they're checked out. India are going to get 600, not by today, but in this innings. And I think England get bowled out deeply. I think this is an innings. This is, if ever a game's staring down an innings defeat, this is the game.
Wow.
I'm literally sounding like you at the beginning of the series, Norman.
Yeah.
See, I worked on your bench.
Because Norman, the first morning of the first test, Norman said India would be 800 for 1, didn't he, or something?
800.
Something like the Basses, wasn't it?
Let me make this clear, Chris. Let me make this clear, Chris. I don't think there's ever been any bloody team that's been 800 for 1.
Well, exactly, and that's why you predicted it. I mean, even the Basses is agreeing with me, and he's, an Indian fan. He knows. He knows.
Gargi, can you stand up for me? Can you get your fists up like this and say, "Leave Norman alone"? They're picking on them.
So you're taking Gargi. I'm taking Smokey. I'm fancying my chances here.
I wouldn't take Gargi on. She's a feisty little one. This one, I tell you.
You are definitely her agent. You're definitely her agent. What commission, Gargi? How much commission does he take from you?
Nothing. I haven't taken 1 cent from you. I've given. Remember that World Cup hats, Gargi? Remember the World Cup? Are you?
Yeah. Yeah, actually, he sent me
Don't
some
talk about
tokens from World Cup, Women's World Cup. He gave me some hats.
Did he?
See?
Yeah, he sent them to me all the way from
Eyes
Australia.
on cricket.
Well, actually, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get you all eyes on cricket hats with my face on the front cover.
Yes.
Your eyes. You could have your eyes on cricket.
Devassus. Would you like that? Would you like a hat with me?
Absolutely. You should start creating some merchandise now. You are very popular now these days, and you are growing. Your channel is growing, Norman, like anything, and you are getting great views. And people back in here in India just want. I was going through the messages. Hey Norman, you are doing a great job. Which I also honestly believe you are doing a fabulous job. So you should start creating your own merchandise. Maybe some coffee mugs or a cap.
What about in the IPL, like Norman face masks?
Stop right there. What you're doing here is embarrassing. It's like Norman is basically all he's done is got on here. He's supported India. Or he's like a cheerleader. He just needed some pom-poms. And so they're like, you could make some Norman merchandise, and then you could also maybe get a Chris Vernon effigy, and then you can sell that and they'll burn it. They'll burn
like a Chris Vernon voodoo doll.
Well, that would sell well.
Despite 20,000 Norman Kochnak masks to have on at the Chinnaswamy Stadium in Bangalore for the IPL, and they'll all be sit there with their face masks. That'll be scary, but genius.
Well, the only thing that's growing here at the moment is my stomach. All right, that's the only thing that's growing. All right, guys. I think is it 3 o'clock? Is it time the game starts?
Yeah, it's third over of the day already.
Okay, we better stop. All right, guys. Okay, Damascus, what was your quick score?
Close to 300. India.
I think we're all over that 300 mark. Gargi, how many runs are they going to score?
Yeah, 250 nearly.
If
250.
if India only get 250, I think England could potentially be
Yeah,
in the game
maybe.
because if they can set 150 in that last innings, who knows? Because it was spinning yesterday, so India will want to bat once. They won't, anywhere between 250. England will snap your hand off now for 250 and have another bat today. So I'm with Gargi. I'm optimistic. We like it.
And to finish with Norman, what he thinks, Rohit Sharma, not out, 254.
Christ.
What?
I wasn't far wrong in my 147.
I actually think that's more likely than India getting bowled out for 250 themselves.
Yeah, impossible. It's not going to happen.
Thank you. I love this. Come on, just push me down as I go up.
I think we need to end this. Because apparently I've just heard from the satellite that no one's watching the test match. Everyone's watching this show. And we need to end it. We need to end it so that people can get over and stuff.
They're all crowded around this big screen. Yeah, it's on the big screen in the stadium. There's a review and they need to take Norman Kochnak's face off.
There's no Wi-Fi signal left because we're using all the bandwidth.
We will end on that. So I'm leaving us from beautiful Coogee here. This is Norman Kochnak, Eyes on Cricket, saying goodbye to everybody. If you like and share, subscribe, and more importantly, I love these people. They're my family now, effectively. So I thank you all. We'll see each other. We've got a review session or day review coming up at about 10 minutes after close of play. So we'll see you all then. Thank you, everyone. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good night. Enjoy the game.
Thank you.
Ciao, ciao.
Bye.